Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. We had the gap of at least 15 days. Now once again I am going to start this lecture for the students of ADE B.Ed Honours 5th semester. The title of the course is Foundation of Reading, and our today's topic is what reading is, what is the definition of reading, and what are the concepts of reading. So let us discuss what reading is. If somebody who is going to learn about reading, he must know that once he start reading, he should have knowledge of pronunciation of words. If he can't pronounce the words exactly or correctly, then his reading will not be considered as a quality reading. So the first point of reading is he should have a best pronunciation, so that his words, his sentences and his reading is easily understood and acceptable. Second point about reading is you are going to identify the words easily. Suppose your pronunciation is good, but you take a lot of time in identifying words, then again the people will take it as a flawed reading, that he takes a lot of time, this child, this boy, this man takes a lot of time in identifying the words. And when you take a lot of time in identifying words, you will definitely lose the meaning in reading. So your reading should be automatic. The third point of reading is one who starts reading, he must bring meaning to the text. If you are going to read page upon page, pages upon pages, line upon lines, but you fail to extract the meaning of that reading, what is the use of reading? Because you don't know the meaning. So these three definitions are acceptable definitions, and they are universally given definitions. In this standard book, I am going to show you that this book, Foundation of Reading. So this book talks about these three definitions. There are various other concepts about reading, and there are various strategies about reading. So if you are going to be a good reader, you should have a prior knowledge. I would quote one example of prior knowledge from any magazine or newspaper. Suppose you are going to read Dawn newspaper, and there you have a sport page. So if you have background knowledge of sports, if you know about the countries who are going to play cricket, or if you are going to know about the players in the team, if you are going to know about the setting in cricket, if you know about how many overs are thrown or run in cricket, and how many bowlers are needed, how it starts, and what is the position of umpire and third umpire. So if you have a background knowledge, then if you are going to read about the cricket, then you can easily understand the meaning. So prior knowledge is necessary to extract the meaning from the passage. Same is all about anything you start reading about designing, about coloring, about gardening in your reading. So if you have a background knowledge about something, you can easily extract the meaning. Suppose you are going to read about any movie, and that movie you have already seen, then you can easily understand that what this writing talks about, or what the characters talk about, and what is the problem and conflict in this reading. So this prior knowledge will help you extract the meaning. And reader who reads applies different strategies. He is a strategic reader. He uses his mind before reading, he uses his mind during reading, and he uses his mind after reading. Suppose you are going to read about poetry, you should have some questions before reading, that what this poetry is about, what this poetry talks about, who has written this poem. And suppose any writer who is going to compose a poem about clouds, so you must have some questions about clouds. You must have some question about oceans if he is talking about ocean. You must have some question about courage if he is talking about courage. So reading starts not only when you read, but before reading you have some questions. Same is, you should have some questions during reading, that what will happen next, what will writer talk about later in this passage which I am reading. So during reading you have questions. You are not silent reader, but you are active reader. You are not passive reader, but your mind runs an imagination that this text which I am reading will talk about this and that. Same happens in the movie. When we watch movie, we already predict that this will happen now or that will happen. This villain will have some plan for the hero, or he is going to kill this hero now, or hero has some plan for the villain now. So in movie, we all the viewers and watchers predict that what will happen next. Same happens in the reading, but if our teachers who are unaware of all these strategies, they will not make our students good readers. And the same is that you should have some questions in the end, that what is the conclusion of this reading, or why I read about this, what was the purpose of reading, what is this piece of writing useful to me. This may be with any kind of writing. You are reading Sindhi newspaper, you are reading Urdu newspaper, you are reading any poetry, you are reading about novel, you are reading about sports. You must have some purpose. That why are you reading? Reading without purpose will again make your reading useless, because you didn't have any purpose. Why did you read about it? Did you make any purpose? You are going to tell about this all about to the people, whatever you have read. So when you start reading, you should have a definite, clear, crystal clear picture in mind that why are you reading. You should have this purpose in mind, that after reading I will write. After reading I will have appear in exam. After reading I will tell this to my friends. After reading I will be a good speaker or writer. So if you have these purposes, then you can be the good reader. So these concepts must be kept in mind. And when we are talking about reading, we don't just talk about reading. We don't just talk about definition of reading, but we talk about the skilled reading. Until and unless our students are skilled readers, they would not experience success. Because skilled reading, it gives you success. Poor reading won't give you success. You would not be a successful reader and writer until and unless you learn all these strategies. And good reader and skilled reading, if we are talking about reading and definition of reading, what is skilled reading? In skilled reading, you must be a constructive reader. What is the role of a constructive reader? He let his imagination go. He thinks about the topic he reads, and then he adds meaning in it. Okay, you cannot all the time make meaning of every word, because by imagination you can construct meaning easily. And second point about skilled reading is you need to be a fluent reader. Who is a fluent reader? Who reads with expression and who reads without hesitating in reading, and he's automatic reader and he's full of expressions, and his reading gives charm to the listeners. So in skilled reading you need to be fluent reader. And third point, which I have already mentioned some of it, a bit of it, is the strategic reader. A strategic reader, whenever he reads, he uses strategies. That how should I read about this? Suppose if I am going to add about the types of reading in this strategic reading, because if you are reading novel, your strategy should be changed. If you are reading about, for exam, your strategy would be changed. If you are reading newspaper, any newspaper or magazine, your strategy would be changed. If you are reading poetry, your strategy would be changed. So strategies can be matched with purposes, and you are going to apply all those types according to these strategies, that what I am going to get, or what will be my purpose after this reading. Good readers are always motivated readers. They don't leave the reading behind. They don't read by fits and starts. They don't read weekly or quarterly or after a month. They read 15 pages and they sleep and they roam and they quit reading. No, good readers and skilled readers are motivated reading. They never quit. They keep reading. They think that reading is like soul and body. So if they quit it, they suffer a lot. So they are motivated readers, and they read all the materials of every kind. And reading is a lifelong pursuit. Okay, if you want to be the good reader and excellent reader, you need to think that this is the continuous practice. This is continual development. This is refinement of yourself. and if you have not this lifelong pursuit. Some people who start careers in shops and in movies, and they play different games, so they take it as a lifelong pursuit. They never play for a day, week, year. They continuously play it and they become the hero of that game, or they they are going to grow day by day, and in this way their position is going to be tightened. So hope you understood the definitions and the concepts of reading from the foundation of reading. And if any teacher who is going to teach his students about the reading, he must keep all these things points in mind, so that he can guide his students accordingly, and his students take the picture of reading, that until and unless they follow all these points, they cannot be the best readers, and they cannot experience adequate and proper success in life. So hope you understood the definitions and concepts of reading, and next time when you start reading, you must see all these points, so that you may be the best reader of tomorrow. Thank you very much. Kindly subscribe my channel, and if you have any question, you can send me in written. I will respond your all questions. Allah Hafiz.